In a cave in England, in 1887, a team of archaeologists found human bones. Not buried, not arranged, scattered, cracked open. The same way you crack open an animal bone to get to the marrow inside. The skull had been carefully cleaned, the face removed, the base cut away. What remained had been shaped into a cup. The long bones had been split, the marrow scooped out. This was not an animal, this was a person, and someone had eaten them. Deliberately. The cave is called Goff's Cave. It sits in the Cheddar Gorge in Somerset, England. The bones inside it are 14,700 years old. When researchers first found them in the 1980s, they assumed what everyone assumes: starvation, desperation, people so hungry they turned to the unthinkable, a last resort, a tragedy. Then in 2017, a team of researchers, led by Silvia Bello at the Natural History Museum in London, analyzed the bones more carefully. What they found destroyed the starvation theory completely. The cave contained something else: horse bones, deer bones, red deer, wild cattle, all of them processed for food, all of them present in large quantities. The people at Goff's Cave were not starving. There was plenty to eat. The humans they consumed were not eaten. Out of necessity, they were eaten by choice. And the way they were processed, the precision of the cuts, the careful removal of flesh, the deliberate shaping of the skull into a vessel, suggested something researchers had been reluctant to say out loud. This was ritual. This was intentional. This meant something. Goff's Cave is not alone. Not even close. Similar remains have been found across Europe: Germany, France, Spain, Croatia, Belgium, sites spanning hundreds of thousands of years. Different cultures, different time periods, different parts of the continent, same evidence. Human bones processed the same way as animal bones, cut marks in the same places. Marrow extraction using the same techniques. Skulls modified into the same shapes. For a very long time, archaeologists found this evidence and looked away, classified it differently, found alternative explanations because the conclusion was too uncomfortable to state plainly. Cannibalism was not rare in human prehistory. It was common. The first category is survival cannibalism. This is the one everyone knows. The Donner Party. The Andes plane crash, the body of a person who died, consumed by people who had no other option. This exists, it is documented, it is the version that makes the most sense to a modern mind, but it is the least common version in the archaeological record. Most prehistoric cannibalism was not this. The second category is nutritional cannibalism. Not starvation, not emergency, but the deliberate inclusion of human flesh as part of a regular diet. This sounds impossible, but the caloric mathematics are uncomfortable. A human body contains approximately 125,000 calories. A large deer contains around 50,000. A mammoth contains 3 million. Humans were not efficient food. They were never the most practical option, which means when humans were eaten as nutrition, something else was also happening. The third category is the one. The Goff's Cave evidence points toward most strongly ritual cannibalism. The consumption of another person, not for calories, not for survival, but for meaning, across dozens of cultures, across thousands of years, across multiple continents. Researchers have documented the same belief system. You consume a person to take something from them. Their strength, their courage, their power, their identity, their connection to the world does not end when they die. It transfers to whoever consumes them. In some cases, this was an act of respect. Your greatest warrior dies, you consume part of them to carry their courage forward. In some cases, it was an act of dominance. You consume your enemy to erase them completely, to take the last thing they had. Their physical existence. In both cases, the act was not about hunger. It was about power, about meaning, about what happens to a person after they stop breathing. The fourth category is the most disturbing and the most documented: funerary cannibalism. The consumption of the dead by the people who loved them most. This is not a theory. This is not speculation. This is recorded practice in cultures that survived into the modern era. The Fore people of Papua New Guinea practiced funerary cannibalism into the 1960s. Women and children consumed the brain and flesh of deceased relatives as an act of mourning, as an act of love, to keep the dead within the living, to refuse to let them go. The practice ended not because the Fore decided it was wrong. It ended because it was spreading a prion disease called kuru that was killing them. The disease itself is what stopped it, not the decision, not the moral judgment. the biology.